Prison Diary number 1 by Peter Doherty, Wandsworth. Afternoon, Isle of Sheppey. Windows crusted with dry summer's flake and a lonely fly. All a screen ignored by the viewer who, though facing it, stares and stares straight throughout his silence. He sits cross-legged on a low wooden chair with backrest softened by green towels. The close horizon is pale and blue, misty in the late afternoon sun that is bright and hidden in the white aqua sky. A river and sea, islanding the close region of Sheppey, is the base of the mist's drift that rises gently and still, like it's a skill. Mostly sky, the canvas is supported by strips of low bumpy ground in light greens and yellows. Few runs of trees like elongated buildings and wonky fencing. There is a knock on the door. He slowly rises and opens it. Rolling his eyes, to his surprise, no one is there. He glances up and down the landing quickly and returns into the small room. A thin, gangly bed runs from the door to the window of the cell, tightly wrapped in a fire blanket with a hard white pillow. It looks like a hospital bed. The rest of the confine is cramped with a spindly table and a small cupboard and a child-sized wardrobe. An illusion. The window appears clear now, and the sky a rich, definitive biro purple. The light in the room is deceptively dull, as Villein has hung a pale green sheet from crooked screws, soothing the harsh electric white that glares from the practical case. Blue smoke from the reflection turns in on itself, and his fingers, held in tobacco mould, that's our hand again. Lazily in pose, Tweezer the roll-up's roach. He breaks wind and flicks ash into an orange peel. The light room, with its white-painted stone brick walls, suddenly shaking, almost upside down with a sudden harsh gunfire of crashing, smashing, and deranged howling and screaming. An alarm sounds. Villein increases, unfolds himself, tumbles off the bed into plain black shoes and opens the door. Immediately he collides with a red-faced screw who kicks him back into his cell, slams the door and locks it. Millions of thoughts pass in seconds, and the door opens angrily. 2 screws burst in and beat Villein to the floor, and handcuffs are on. "Do you hear me, you handsome rat-faced dog?" I'm telling you a story. Reread the beginning. Villein doesn't hear you. He hears Neil on the landing. "The money's in the bank. I ain't saying which one." This is exactly what Villein thinks of it all, but there's no one to say it aloud to. The money's in the bank? He thinks. Precisely. He needs his new kid. Outside the open door, an old fellow walks by with a cup of tea and says to another bloke, "Gonna be down doing the delivery tomorrow? Trust the fucking pigs. Might take me a while, but trust me, the money's there." One of the screws from the security room, walking in a very odd way, all knees, comes in. "Evening, Villein." He searches through the bottom drawer of a decrepit old cupboard. He pulls out a white box, and from the white box he pulls out an asthma pump. Pulls out a ribbon as Arcadian as unravellings, and tumbles into his palm joeys of brown and whites in 3 waterproof shots of blue and white. Tesco style, miniature bowling balls, looking for a knockdown on the skittles of oblivion. "You get me, blood," says Neil. Mr. Welks raised an eyebrow and turned to Villein. "Got asthma, have you, son?" The curtain was calling as the sun sets on another shore. The bad boys were brawling. "If you want it so bad, you can have it all. I defy you all. This blood clot weirdo knows twice as much as nothing at all. I'm still nothing at all. And my blood knows the Wolfman twice as much as 10 lives, you all. Slack back razor days and night time, we're filling mad halls. They kill you, then they bill you. Snouts in the swill, y'all. We remember the face, and we'll do you, and then we... Rude boy, what do you want, bruv? Brown. You want to sell some brown for me? He gave me that. Pay me when you sell it. I returned to my cell and sat in the bed and pulled out a Joey of H the size of a ping-pong ball in a ping-pong ball. I forged him a charitable no-questions-asked cheque that gave his girlfriend the cash on the Monday. Good kid. He clicked his white teeth. Anyone for table tennis? What-ho, ha-ha. You're a thief, you. Look it up, he said, nodding to the bed covered in scraps of paper and books. Distant, cloudy voices clutter up the walls with muttered spoiling choices and opinions on us all. But come the revolution, we'll line them up against the wall. Then, lads, steady, pop goes the weasel, then already, step, steady, pop goes the weasel. £half a pound of twopenny rice, £half a pound of treacle, that's the way the money goes. Pop goes the weasel. £half a pound of twopenny rice, £half a pound of treacle, that's the way the money goes. Pop goes the weasel. You get people who are gormless, you get me? Different bitches consume them. Their soul haven't had enough time, their environment and the focus of their parents. The true essence of life, we live in a society that has been predoctrinated. I've been expecting you, the fortune teller says to Neil. I've been in states where I can control the forces of nature. Set out to the next dark side, thinking something's in my mind. God bless the dead deep underworld and procedure since the beginning of time. It's not what they say, it's the way they say it. Codes in the underworld. Don't tell me to fuck up real nature. Drawing. Figure asleep on the bed. Allah, death of Marat. Radio slave miserable as virtue, the celebrity grip friend of a great musician on the set of a blockbuster movie, the walls entertained. Unbeknown by none known the new turn of the decent or half-decent sort of chap. They pretended to not to know. Now, prefer poor cow. I'll not take what I can get. Chain-whipped and dead rollicking. I'll do the time and perfect the crime. There's a man who came to stay. The boy he replaced disappeared without a trace. Gave my songs and my soul away. No one would say what they needed to say. So he had it his way. If you sail into the sun, but where the eyes are green, and if the whole world say that you are the one, I defy you to believe them, my son. Would you believe them, my son? ID. Once upon a time, in the land of Bruce Grove, Tottenham, there lived an Arcadian, Peabody Cottage. Peter, Francesca, Steve and assorted nymphs, pixies and French psychedelic hippies scattered about, EastEnders, Martin and G, motorbike fellas and fine dealers lived very close by, and regular trips were made behind their hedge and iron gate barricade into sometimes twisted realms. A bush to get out of sometimes, as Trigger said of the moons. Nonetheless, special times occurred there as much as spooky ones. Back in Peabody, the opera collage, painted floorboards and walls and bonkers, bedspreads and books abounded in this bedlam of a love nest. Remember a young girl from North London with a beehive and leather jacket called Hannah, always drunk in those days, and everyone was off their nut on speed. I remember walking from Bruce Grove to Bow and back with Steve one fine night to visit the venerable Phil Dickens on the top floor of Levy House. What did we talk of? I remember we were wearing tatty jeans and Lord Anthony-style affairs on our backs. To Arcady, Bedlam, my good man, and don't spare the clapdog old banger bought of Johnny's Uncle Ernie. Remember that horrible night in Inham Road? What one? The one when Wolfie lost it. He mocked me something rotten, saying, "Bring me a mirror, oh, bring me a mirror. How is your vanity, Peter?"
With short hair you are ugly, it appears, and you do not seem so rash these days, mind you. No girls to dress up for in here. Saying that, I've been brushing my teeth and looking after myself in a routine rather than a vanity way, much more diligently than on the outside. For when I get outside, oh, I suppose so, it's hard to imagine what I really mean. I'm pleased with my sight when I behold the friend, but my vision and the friend cannot be two. It is he who sees with my eyes.